That right there. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I forgot to hit a button. Welcome back to Coffee and Darts, where I interview pro darts players, manufacturers, other YouTubers and streamers, along with subscribers. Hey, and as we're getting people in, why don't you give me a ton 80 in the comments to let me know that you're ready to talk some darts this morning. And don't forget, you can catch this stream every Tuesday morning, like right now at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. And we are also available in podcast form shortly after the show airs for your listening pleasure and non-viewing pleasure throughout the week. And then again, let me hear you guys in the chat. Let's ask some questions of our guest today. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up and the heart over there on Facebook. All right, let's take a moment really quickly to thank our sponsors that make this show happen. First sponsor is Shot Darts. Want to just thank Shot Darts for sponsoring. They've got beautiful barrels, like pieces of art that we get to throw at a dartboard. So thanks to Shot Darts. Also want to thank Magicwear for all their great jersey offerings. Of course, they've got off the shelf, they've got semi-custom and full custom for your jersey needs. And of course, not last but not least, we've got Condor Darts. This is brought to us by Trinidad. They, of course, make the Axe Flight, which I personally use. And they make some other really cool product, flight shaft stem products. All right, there we go. Hey, everybody, let's go ahead. And I got to pull that off the screen. Had to read that. I'm still getting that down. But hey, as we get into today's show, I'm super excited about bringing on our guest. It is Marc from Love Darts. So why don't you guys give him a warm welcome? Hey, Marc, how's it going?
How's it going?
I'm doing well. It's 7 a.m. for me, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon for you.
Yeah, nearly done with our working day here.
I'm just getting started, so. Hey, you and I were chatting a little bit before the show, which was great. Like I almost went live so we could just chat and everybody could hear it.
Yeah.
Great conversation. I have a couple of quick questions, and I'm sure our subscribers are going to have a few questions for you. My first question always is, like, how did you get into darts? Now, you were basically born in an area where a lot of kids come out with darts in their hands. Here in America, we have to find them somewhere in the dirt. But, like, how did darts become a part of your life?
So I was really late to it, actually. I used to run some amateur poker leagues in our local area. And so, you know, if you're running them, sometimes you get to play in them. If you get knocked out, I'm still having to do all the chip ups and things like that and still run the event. Now, at these events, there's always a dartboard around. So sometimes if I've got a little bit of time, I'll have a throw on the dartboard, and started to get more and more into it, and started to play against some of the local guys. And we're like, yeah, actually, I quite fancy joining a team, joined a local pub team. And I'm quite scientific in kind of how I approach a lot of things. So I spent a lot of time playing around with flight stems and everything like that before I really got into it heavily, trying to see what does what, how it affects it. And then I got really into the pub leagues and carried on from there, really. So
just kind of grew into it, went from losing money at it to spending money at it. Okay. I get it.
I wish I had started earlier, because, you know, I've obviously got to know a lot of people through it, and you know, they've been playing for years. They, like you say, they kind of grow with almost a dart in their hands, and or their parents have played beforehand and things like that. But no, I got into it quite late, and got really into it, and yeah, it's a fantastic community that we have, and it's a great fun game to play. You know, you don't have to have, you know, nearly everyone can play it, and you don't have to, you know, be very good to enjoy it. But it takes a long time to master. Well, I'm certainly finding that anyway.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's truly mastered it. Even the great Phil Taylor will tell you he hasn't mastered the sport. Yeah. But I don't think there's anybody else that has played as much as him. Yeah. But yeah, well, that's. I mean, for myself, I'm kind of in the same boat as far as getting into it late. I played as a kid. My dad was stationed in Spain in the Navy and spent quite a bit of time over in Europe. And so, like, we played darts when I was a kid. We had a dartboard outside. We had a dartboard in the garage, and it was fun. And then it kind of went away, and it found itself back in my life, about 5 years ago ish. And it's just been like like I don't even know how to explain it. Like my wife's like, do you love me or do you love darts? And I'm like, I love darts. Sorry. So, you know,
Yeah,
that's
I
kind of
found
how it
myself
goes.
recently single. Maybe that's the reason. Too many darts.
There we go. Funny enough, because you had mentioned this prior, you know, like we were chatting the background, and like a lot of people have commented that they like my space that I have. Huge props to my wife for allowing that. I just want to give that out because I know she's watching this morning. So, babe, thank you so much for allowing me to basically take over a big chunk of the garage, and you absolutely hate it, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I got more Funko Pops that showed up in the mail yesterday, and she's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "I got space. I need to fill it." So
yeah, it looks so good.
thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I just got in like a super special Funko that it's part of the Back to the Future. I'll show it to you guys at some point, but
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. So you got into darts, you know, through poker. And kind of got into darts. You've been doing the pub stuff, doing some league stuff. But out of curiosity, because a lot of people will say you have a face for radio, but you have a face for what this is as far as doing the YouTube stuff like you do, and you have a great radio voice. Like I listen to you and I'm like, dude, this is like I just want it playing in the background because the voice is so soothing and so just
I need to do Jazz
point.
FM or something.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what do you, because I didn't ask you prior, but what do you do outside of the Love Darts show?
So I was actually trained. I was an actor from 10 years old, and I became a professional actor at 19. I signed a contract with an agent. Did work with Granada TV, Nickelodeon, BBC, PlayStation, and a few other bits and pieces like that. But it's not really the most regular work in the world. So it's quite good when you're in work. It's one of the best jobs in the world. You know, you're performing, you get to change a character. It's really, really good fun. But when you're not working, it's really tough. So I've done, you know, hundreds and hundreds of jobs alongside it. I did a management degree. I did a master's in screen acting to sort of satisfy the acting side of things, and have a postgraduate certificate in education. So I considered going to teaching. But about 4 years ago, I took on a Google project, and I'm still doing that now. So that's my main job, working with Google on a Google Maps project. You know, the acting has always been something that I've done for years and years. I haven't done so much recently with the Google role, because when I first started it, I was traveling all over Europe. So I'd be in Holland, Spain, France, Germany, Italy. Each week I might be in a different location, so it became impossible to know whether I was going to be back to do rehearsals, let alone whether I was going to be there for the final shows. So it was it's always been something that I've been very passionate about. I've always enjoyed, you know, I've had an element of confidence that's been built into me as a result of doing lots and lots of different jobs where you get told, yeah, okay, you've got the role. No, you haven't got the role. So I'm used to getting kicked down and keep going. So you have to have a strong mind for it. And that's kind of where my performative element has always come in. But I never really did editing and things like that. We did like a final project where a couple of us got together and tried to stick some of our final pieces together and make a final project and sort of mini film. But I haven't really done any editing. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, if he's done acting and that, he's probably all into the editing and all that. No. I've watched lots of YouTube videos, spent lots of hours doing research, going, how do I make a glitch effect?
Yeah.
And things like that, and just trying to make things more entertaining then for the viewers. But that's a lot of my background, really. I did sort of singing, dancing, musicals. I wasn't really a dancer. I was dance capable, but when you do a musical, you have to be able to do a box step and whatnot. But no, the acting was always something that's very, very key to me. And the YouTube channel was a nice outlet for that, obviously, during lockdown.
Very nice. Yeah. Roy from Bullseyes and Brewskis, he knows how to dance in a dress nowadays because he had to wear one last Saturday.
Yeah.
If you missed that, you should go back and watch that because he looks pretty cute with the makeup.
Brilliant.
Yes. And that's interesting because I had an acting background as well. You know, I did all the school stuff. We live close to LA. And of course, San Diego, there's a lot of stuff that has been filmed right here in our backyard. I live in Oceanside. Top Gun was filmed here. There's been a number of movies. And I have friends that have transitioned into the acting world. I used to go up and do auditions, kind of, sort of. Never really cared for it, so I just was going with friends. And then I got a buddy. We go up to Burbank all the time to hang out, to do horror stuff. He's into the horror issue, and he, like John Landis and he, are buddies, and there's a bunch of these directors and stuff that he knows. And so we go up there and everybody's an actor. Like you talk to the person that's like literally living on the street, and they're like, yeah, I'm an actor, I was in this. And I'm like, I sucked as an actor, apparently. But that's cool. That's like, I want to pick your brain about all that, but we're here to talk about darts, so that could be a different show at another time. I want to show everybody your channel, because let me bring this up here. I came across your channel. I was like, what? This is awesome stuff. Share screen. Got to do that. Gotta know how to.
I mean, I started with the Elysians just because I thought, well, it's a really interesting way to start off, and they're a very unique and expensive dart. So I thought, well, I'll do some videos on them. I actually haven't done the 6th generation yet. That's sort of on the back burner at the moment. But yeah, no. I for those who don't know, I live quite close to the darts referee, obviously another very, very big YouTuber, and I'd because of my acting and stuff, I'd always been interested in doing it. I chatted to him a little bit about it, and he was like, yeah, go for it. And I think he was quite a sort of inspiration during the lockdown period for a lot of people to get up and who had been thinking about doing it, to go and do it. So yeah, I obviously started up. Wanted to do some reviews just to start, because I have a lot of darting equipment, but to sort of appease the acting element, I think the interviews was always somewhere that I quite enjoyed going down, and because of the way I said I scientifically look at lots of things, I like to compare and contrast things. So recently brought out the Versus series, which was one of the ways I wanted to go down, looking at a couple of different products if people are a little bit on the fence of which way to go, sort of put suggestions out. Because I know that, for example, if I'm looking at a TV, I'll always look at, okay, what's the Samsung and what's the Sony and what's the comparison and things like that. So that's when the Versus channel came out, or the Versus video came out, and I'll do a few more from there. But yeah, it's growing. There's no particular restrictive direction that I wanted to go in. I wasn't just going to do reviews. I wasn't just going to do interviews. I wanted it to be a sort of open channel, just loving darts, and that's why it was appropriately named Love Darts.
Nice. And it's a great channel. I mean, I love the videos. The Elysians, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you've got all 6 sets. I'm like that's like $1 million or something. That's great.
I wish.
To have, well, out here, I mean, literally out here, I mean, people are paying thousands of dollars for sets right now, because you just can't get them. So yeah, here in America, we're like, okay, for a lot of it. I'll be honest, this bag right here that so I watched this video and I ordered one yesterday. I was like, that is so. I've been looking for a bag that allows me to hold a dartboard.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking thing. It's in the mail, so I ordered it yesterday because I watched that video yesterday. I was like, I've never seen a bag like this.
I was super excited. I think the Unicorn made one that was for their sort of the tour board. This one I think is a little bit bigger. It considers the fact that if you actually were to go to an event, you can have your board, you can have all your accessories, you can have a change of shoes, you can have your, some clothes in there and things like that. So I think it was really well designed. It was a nice gap in the marketplace, which I thought was, really good from Mission. And I like, even Winmore doing the flight pod. I don't know if it was necessarily the best design for it, but I love quirky, different, new things that are coming out. So yeah, I thought it was a good little product. I like that one.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it. I had wanted to do a show where I took my dartboard, I've got a scooter, and just run around town and go to places and set it up. And have people throw darts. And then I was told by a buddy of mine who's a city council member that he's like, what happens if a dart sticks in someone? And I was like, oh crap. He's like, yeah, not a good idea. So I kind of pulled the plug on that. Yeah. When and if COVID ever releases us from its grips and we can get back to actually being in pubs, I'm going to try and do that show, but go to pubs and be like, okay, you're throwing and you're going to hit the wall if you miss, instead of the guy walking behind you. I am curious because this right in here, this 4 series set with the Mr. Martle himself, like how did that come about? He's awesome. And these are great. Oh, and by the way, Mark, just, we are live. I forgot to tell you that we are live, and I want you to know. because if you don't know the story I'm talking about, you need to watch the first episode over on Love Darts, and you'll understand a little bit more about that joke. But how did you guys meet, and how did that come about?
So I'd always been a big fan of Wayne's stuff anyway, and let me think. I was looking around to try and find someone to go to do training with. There's obviously there's not too many options. There's a few options, and in the UK we're fortunate we've got quite a few ex-players, and there's still even a few current players who offer it as well. But I was looking around, and I saw that Wayne Mardle provided a training school. So I thought, right, okay, I'd really like to go along to that. So you can book for however long you want. I booked for an hour session, and he's got a sort of converted back shed sort of dedicated to it. And I literally turn up at his house, and he's opened up the back gate, and hi, Mark. I'm like, that's Wayne Mardle. I don't know what. It's one of those things that you book and you think, yeah, I'm booking to go to Wayne Mardle. When you're actually there and he opens the door, it's like, it's Wayne Mardle. And it was so cool. But he was so friendly and so nice. And he actually messaged me and said, oh, if you're here early, just turn up. That's fine. So I turned up, and I was actually there for 3 hours.
Wow.
I'm very much like Wayne. I think once we get talking darts, that's it. Game over. We got 3 hours worth out of it. But no, the session was fantastic, and we got on really, really well. Had good fun. After the session, I was still able to message him if I had any questions and sort of send him little updates and things. So he was really, really good in that respect. And I think he was at an exhibition a couple of times. I messaged him and said, are you around? To say hello and things. So he's very, very, he loves darts, and he's really, really great with the fans, great with people who have come along to the session stuff. And I just simply thought, I'm going to reach out to him and see if I can get an interview. Not expecting much. I think I sent him a message on Twitter, and within about half an hour, I had a message back. Sure, yeah, I'm busy this week. Are you around next week? I was like, yeah, I'll make myself around, absolutely. And he came on. We didn't really have any sort of plan for how long. I think I planned about half an hour's worth of questions, but we just chatted, and I think we did just about an hour and 40 minutes, so I had to chop it down into 4 episodes. But I think if people watch it, they'll see that he just likes to talk darts, and he's so charismatic and friendly. I think he's a really, really great guy. Like him a lot, and send him messages just to ask for a little help for anything really. He's very active on social media as well, so if you add him on Twitter and send a message or reply to something, he's more than likely to reply at some point. Just very busy.
Well, yeah, he's never replied to mine, and as a matter of fact, when I go to Twitter, it doesn't allow me to actually message him. It's because I'm in America is what I figure. He's blocked all the Americans because he's like, you guys don't play proper darts. You play that plastic stuff, so I can't officially talk with you guys. I have reached out to him to see, because I would I think he and I personality wise would get along really well. I'm a huge fan of his. I've watched a lot of his older matches. I remember when he was a huge fan of everybody else's because he was a bigger gentleman, and I'm curious about that. Like how he did the weight loss and how what put all that into his mind. But I'm a huge fan of his. I've got a set of his darts. I look at his shirt all the time, and I'm like, I really I used to wear Hawaiian shirts. I'm like, I really kind of want that. Yeah. But yeah, I watched your interview. Great guy. He seems really just like a down to earth, fun, loving person. But I'm American, so
maybe you need to put the Hawaiian influence into the shirt. Tag him in it. There's your way in.
There we go. Yeah, maybe I'll just wear this shirt. I don't know. So we'll figure that out. That's kind of like my golden grail type situation. Like I want to get Wayne Mardle onto the show. That to me would be stellar. That's not like getting Phil Taylor, but it's close to it in my mindset. So someday maybe
I'll message and see what I can do. I can't promise anything, but maybe we'll see.
Maybe see what happens. So I'm curious because you've been doing this for what, 3, 6, 7 months, something like that. I gotta go back here and look. Yeah, so 7 months ago, you released the first video, and you're doing great. You've got almost 2,000 subscribers. So hey, everybody, if you haven't subscribed to Love Darts, run over there and give a shout out to Love Darts over on YouTube and like it. I mean, he's almost at the 2,000 mark. Let's see if we can help be the ones to break that. I'm always super excited when I see other YouTubers on this growth pattern. I myself am still, in that beginning. I feel like I'm in the beginning stages. I've been doing this for a while. And I saw like what Jack did over at Darts Referee, and it was amazing. He's over 20,000 subs, and good for him. He's doing some fun stuff. Yeah. It's different. It is. Which is awesome. I did want to ask you really quickly, because I want to get into talking darts in itself. I want to talk about World Championship and, the Gerwin Price win and all that. But watching your videos, so like you mentioned the editing situation. So you're editing all your own videos. So you're spending the time to literally go find the little clips, and I know there's a lot of little things out there that
people don't realize, do they? They see a finished product and like that's what it should be. That's fine. I'm expecting to see something entertaining, and that's that. But the effort that goes behind it is quite substantial. I know that you've got some YouTubers, and in situations like this, for example, we can put the camera on, we can have a chat, we can put some good content together. But when it comes to a review and things, you have to take the time and obviously preparing an area, lighting it, getting the products to look good, picking the right shots, making it interesting. Then when you've got all of that, you're recording yourself. And there's some days, for example, where you'll wake up and you've got I've got a great big zit on my head. I'm not going to be able to record today, so that delays things further. But then you'll go onto the internet and go, right, okay, I've got to find some copyright-free images or videos that I can use, music. You then cut and splice, you're moving things around, you're thinking of the concept, you've got to create a thumbnail. It can really take some time to do. So I know it takes me a lot longer as well, because I try, one of my unique selling points for the reviews is I try to put in like a little trailer. So I'll put a little trailer which has a little concept to try and sort of show off the dart maybe in a different light, and it's something for me to have a bit of fun with, and to get the viewers just to be a little bit excited about the product. So that takes a little bit of time sometimes to create those concepts, but if you get comments of people enjoying it and you get your subscribers, it makes it worthwhile. I enjoy doing it, and if people don't, I'm sorry, but I'll keep doing it and hope that the people that do are enough.
Yeah, no, I love your content, and in some degree, I'm jealous, because I do like just that beginning entrance as you come into the whole thing. Because of me having kids here, and the COVID thing really crushed my spirit, so to speak, with doing stuff. Like, my kids are going to be gone part of today, and so I'm already in my head, I'm like, I got to crank out at least 4 videos. At least the video part of it, I've got to do that so that I've got content for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a lot to it, and then the editing. And I'll be honest, you go back to some of my original ones, like the editing, you can see there's a guy trying, but it was really late nights. It was difficult with family and all that. So I found an editor where I'm able to kind of cut myself down in parts, and I add some stuff in, like some little video clips and different things that I like, and then I send it to her, and I'm like, hey, clean it up. So I have, luckily enough, I found someone that is like, hey man, I'll do that for you. And she doesn't do it all. She just kind of cleans things up, make sure if I've got jump cuts that are horrible, she'll clean all that up. Yeah. And so I'm lucky in that part, but yeah, it's a ton.
It looks good. And the thing is, it's a journey, right? And it's quite fun to go, look, I started here with no subscribers, or 5 subscribers right at the first few months or few weeks and things, and to see sort of what it's become. And I know that I struggle to, but I make the time as much as I can to try and reply to nearly every single comment. I don't reply to the negative ones. For me, it's just the same as me going for an audition where they say, no, you haven't got the part. It's like, okay, and I think it's wrong for people to think that everyone's going to like them. I know that there won't be people who like my stuff, same as, I don't like some other people's stuff. It's life, and that's part of the beauty of it. So just accept that some people like it, some people won't. And try and spend as much time saying thank you back, because at the end of the day, the people that watch it and help your channel grow are a part of your journey as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do the same. I try and, at least once a day, I will take a moment and just go through and any comments that have come in. I try and respond to them, and I will respond to some of the negative ones if it's like, hey, I noticed this in your video, or it's this, it's constructive negative
Yeah.
criticism. I'll respond to those.
Yeah, constructive's
So,
absolutely fine. It's the people who will say things that they literally just trying to get a response out of you, and
yeah.
it provides no value whatsoever. Someone said, look, I didn't like the music that you played during the Matthew Edgar review because it went all the way through and it really grated on me. And I was like, oh, that's a good comment. I spoke to a few other people and they said, it to go all the way through was maybe too much. So I then made the change and put it, beginning and end and having a cut period there. So I like the constructive stuff. So, by all means, put things forward. If you think there's something that's better or something that I can enhance, I'll look at it and see what I can do. I'm very receptive to change. I'm used to taking redirection from acting, so it's all part and parcel of the background of me.
Well, and it's the growth. You've got to learn. You're never too big. I look at darts players. The truly true pros that are good will always take constructive criticism. Everything I know of Phil Taylor, I've never met him personally, but everything I know of him says that, if someone were to give him advice on something that made sense, he would take it and run with it, because he's always
100%.
looking to better himself. And that's what makes him such a great darts player. Getting into darts players, I could talk YouTube like crazy all day long and get into all the little fundamentals and stuff like that, because I watch a lot of videos on how to do this stuff, and it looks like you're doing that. So I think that could be a really fun conversation, but it's about darts, and of course we love darts. I'm curious your reaction of Gerwyn Price being world champion and world number one.
I think it's brilliant, in all honesty, and I will, being completely honest, I wasn't a big fan of Gerwyn's when he went absolutely nuts. Some of the things that he did, I was just like, oh, this guy is obnoxious. But I actually really, he for me, if someone takes the time and effort to make the change, and I think that he has done that, he's gone, okay, I'm a little bit too much. My celebration, that's part of me, and I don't want that taken away. But some of the other tactics and things trying to sort of put off the players, I think with some of his behavior, he's changed it, and I really respect that, and he 100% deserves it. I love watching him. It's the same as Phil Hellmuth with poker, like, the poker brat. If you guys don't know poker, Phil Hellmuth's like I think he's probably a 16 or 17 time champion as well, and he kicks off massively if he loses a hand, but he's very, very entertaining, in the same way that even though I didn't like Gerwyn at first, I love to watch him because it's just so entertaining. I like characters. I don't want someone to be just a commercial product for a brand. I want them to come out and say, the same as Wayne Marler was like, I'm playing shit. That's it. Simple as that, characters is really important. So I really like it. I've done a whole 180 on him. I like him. I enjoy it. And I give him all the credit for having a fantastic year. He deserves it more than anyone else. He's worked really hard. And yeah, there's nothing more that I can really say. He deserves it wholeheartedly.
I completely agree. I think he, again, he's been in the PDC for 6 years, 7 years technically, but 6 years realistically. And he had that opportunity to win a major, and he found a way to get under Gary Anderson's skin during that, and that was with the yell. And he took it too far. But he learned from that. I don't think they needed to slap his hand, which they did, but I think he learned from that experience that, hey, I can do this and it will offset people, the mind game.
Yeah.
But I need to pull it back. And we've seen him use it very methodically. He now uses the scream when he knows it's the right moment. Sometimes he does it to pump himself up, but sometimes he's really doing it. You can tell. He's like, okay, I got this guy.
Yeah. It's tricky because you've obviously had Gary Anderson, who's another player I absolutely love watching. kick off at Wayne Mardle. Now, I like both of them, so I'm like, where do I sit with this issue? Because he was saying that, Wayne's turned around and said, yeah, you need to work out what you need to do to sort of put them off their game. And Gary's very pure about the game. It's like, look, I go up there. If you hit 100, I hit 140. If you hit 140, I hit 180. And I do like that element, but I think that there's, picking moments to just sort of readjust yourself and slow down the pace and things for your game, and not doing it too much, because obviously I think the Sulovic thing was maybe a little bit too much. In the Sulovic game recently, he slowed down so much.
I thought he had a heart attack. I really did.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant to watch. I mean, it was fascinating to watch, because you're thinking, I can see exactly what's going on here. But from an entertainment perspective, it's like, oh God, it's going to be 2022 by this rate. We'll have a Corona 6.0 by then. But it's I'm kind of half with it. I think it's if it's within reason. For example, I as the referee, I think you should step in and say, look, if you're going to take that long prepping your throw, don't stand at the table for 10 seconds every time and then go back to it. It's tricky. It's hard to police. I don't know quite what the answer is, and I think Wayne's kind of, he's said that before, like, I know that there's a problem, but I don't necessarily know what the solution is. So I'm kind of 50-50 with them. There has to be I think if you play pub darts, you will get a player who, if all of a sudden they're playing rubbish, they slow it down, and then it starts affecting your game, so they'll keep it slow. That it happens all the way through all of the ranks of darts. So it kind of has a place, but should it be policed a little bit more, maybe?
I think so. When it comes to the pro side, I know for myself, playing in a league, there's a gentleman, I love him to death. He's a great guy, but he will talk to you the entire time. Like, he wants to have a full conversation, and he knows that, like, if you start playing really well, that's when he starts the conversation. Hey, what's going on with this? Let's talk about that. Because he knows he's offsetting your time, and he knows what he's doing. And a lot of people are like, oh no, that's the way he is. I'm like, no, watch. He only does it when he's playing someone that's gotten ahead of him, that's got a leg on him and stuff. So I'm okay with it, to be very honest. Like, I know he does that, so I just don't have conversations with him. I've caught on to his game, and I think there needs to be some of that. That's sports. You find the way to get under someone's skin, whether you're playing proper football in regards to soccer. I mean, those guys do it. Every sport does it. So I'm okay with it, but there has to be boundaries that you stay within. So the Solovich thing, I was like, did he have a heart attack? Like, is he okay? Is he having a stroke? I mean, what's wrong with him? Are we going to do medical? And I agree.
He was making a cup of tea at the desk or something at the table.
He's like, hold on a second. and then I need to drink it. And
I think it was like 32 seconds between Anderson like walking off of the yoke and then the next throw is like, but that was regular. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. And maybe that's it. Maybe you clock that. They do that in golf. They used to allow time, and you would see these guys that would just, take these, like a 10-hour round of golf type of situation. And they said, look, we're going to put a clock on your rounds. And if you're not keeping up, we're going to push you along or dock you strokes. So I would almost be okay with that if we see this as a consistency. It happened one time, like in a bad way.
Yeah.
And I think they'll have words with him about it, and I think we won't see it. As far as Gary Anderson goes and his like, hey, we need to be just methodical. We just play darts, guys. I don't buy it. I think that's his little edge. He's using that as an outlet to just be pissy with people. Because if you watch him back when he had his earring, and you go back in the years when he was playing, he had his own little gamesmanship. He would nudge, the Phil Taylors and stuff. So I think this is just his way of getting at people. And look what happened with Devin Peterson. Like, I really think Devin would have come in and done, because he's a student of Wayne Mardle's. So he would have understood that, okay, I got to do a little something here. But I think there was as much as of a man as he is, and I'll tell you, man, that guy's like, I think he just wanted to play the game. Like, he was like, playing Gary Anderson, I just got to play the game. And it didn't go his way. I think if he had done a little bit here and there to get under Anderson's skin, we may have seen Devin in the finals.
Regardless, though, I think for me, as a sort of more neutral fan, I'm thrilled because it seems to have put a little bit of spark into Gary Anderson, which I think we're all a fan of seeing because he's such a fantastic player. So I'd like to see, I don't mind him moaning and whining because, to be honest, I'll click on YouTube and rewatch it because it's entertaining. So I like the characters in sports. So if you want to keep whining and moaning about it, I actually find it entertaining. I'll watch it and enjoy it. And in terms of a player, I still support him because I think he's a fantastic player. So I hope he sorts his medical situations out because I know he's been having some aggro. But I hope he sorts it out. We get to see even more from him. I don't think we saw the best from him. I think he was half-heartedly in there. Didn't expect to even be in the final. He just sort of peaked at the right moments and stuff. But there's still more I think we can see from Gary Anderson. I hope so anyway.
Well, I'll say he mentioned in a couple of interviews that, one, he didn't expect to be in the final. He didn't expect to be in the semis. He kind of came in with but then his game was coming along. But he did mention he's going to play a lot more this year. We're going to see more out of him.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that.
Sounded like he was doing it out of spite. I'm like, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm more than
Screw
happy.
you guys. I'm here.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick, and we'll go back in time, who's a favorite darts player for you other than Phil Taylor?
Other than Phil Taylor, I am a huge fan of Dirk van Dijvenbode. Huge fan. I think, like I said, I like personality in people. I like people not being afraid. I watched Formula One quite a lot. I was a big Formula One fan, and Schumacher was like my absolute hero. But even things like Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen is known for, there was an interview where they turned around and said, "Oh, Kimi, did you see Pele on the stage?" He's like, "No, I'm taking a shit." Absolutely brilliant. He just can't, did he just say that on TV? You just rewind it back and watch it again. But Dirk, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very, very, you know exactly what he's feeling. He shows you, you can see it in his face. He'll talk about it afterwards. He talks honestly about it. He throws phenomenal darts, massive scoring ability. It's, but it's going to be nice to see his game develop because I think that people could take advantage of him mentally because he lives it. So it'd be nice to see how he deals with those things and develops as a player. So I think I'm really enjoying watching him play. There's a Japanese player called Kita Ono. Solo Generation 3 darts are the darts that I use. So I'm a big supporter of him. He's got a lovely throw, obviously plays soft tip. So I try and watch some of the soft tip stuff where I can, but I don't follow him quite as much. But I'd love to see a little bit more Japanese influence coming over here and being able to sort of watch these things. I have to find it on YouTube, which it's a shame that they don't show more over here, but maybe it'll develop as it grows.
Yeah, the Asian darts is so much fun to watch. Just I will say I love watching them. But I want to get back to Mr. Dijvenbode. I can't ever say his name correctly. He reminds me of a Gary Anderson and Gerwin Price meshed into one.
Yeah,
he's a great dartsman, as in he's a power scorer. He loves all that stuff, but he has a little bit of emotion and he will show it, but he's super respectful of understanding, hey, I'm still the new guy on the block. These are the guys that have been here. And he shows the respect with the excitement and the energy. And you could say he loves darts because he certainly shows that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few characters that I really love seeing the personality grow. Ian White is just one of those ones you don't expect, and all of a sudden he'll just bomb an interview by going, doing the dabs and stuff. Absolutely brilliant. I love that. MVG in the interview with Wayne Mardle, he's like, I thought I was your boy. You saying Devin Peterson's your boy now? And Wayne's like, I just didn't know what to say to it, to be honest. And he's like, I'm going to smash your boy. It's just, he's so much fun. I really like to see MVG's personality coming out, and Dimitri obviously doing dancing. Some people like it, some people don't. But it's an outlet for you to kind of be yourself. Peter Wright is one of the ones that I find really interesting, and he's quite local to me as well. I'd love to speak to Peter. He's kind of like an extroverted introvert, right? He's just so quiet as a person. Apparently, he doesn't obviously have his hair up at some of the Pro Tour events, some of the other things. I was talking to Aaron Beanie about it. He said, I went over and I'm sat with Peter Wright, and he's like, hello, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Starts talking to him really, really quiet. And he's like, this is the world champion, this big, guy who comes on doing this massive walk on, giving it all this and everything like that. But it's kind of like, he's quite a quiet person, but that's kind of how he wants to be. So, yeah. Anything to show personality and a bit of excitement and real person, I connect to. I don't want to see someone coming out and going, I just want to thank the sponsors for this great opportunity, and there's nothing going on. Yeah, thank you, sponsors. That's great, but just say, I played crap today. I didn't sleep well last night. I was playing Call of Duty with Ryan Searle or something the night before. So I just came to the dartboard, and all I was thinking about was my bed. That's what you want to hear in an interview, something genuine and real.
Yeah, with that said, I'll be honest, I'm kind of tired of these guys coming up and be like, I played rubbish. Yeah, I beat him. It was 6-0, but I played like crap. And I'm like, you don't know how many people in the world want to play like crap like you. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a little tired of it. I will say I like the interviews that come through and they're like, hey, you know what? I played pretty good. I beat him. I could get better at this. Yeah. That to me is so much more authentic than I played rubbish that we hear a lot of times. And I'm like, dude, you won.
Yeah.
Your rubbish was better than his rubbish, apparently. And it's a hell of a lot better than my rubbish any day of the week.
It's one of the things that winds me up a little bit more, and I find quite disrespectful in the pub leagues. You'll have someone come over and, they won, and you're like, well done, mate. And they're like, oh, no, I played shit, And I know it's to their standard, you've got someone who might be pulling a 75, 80 average normally, and they pull out a game that's 69 or something, but that person they played against is dreaming of having a 60 average, So there's certainly a time and a place. And I think I try to be a little bit more understanding of it, because the way I try to play darts is I try to play better for me. So I don't really care about my opponent's scoring and what they're doing. As long as I've played okay, I don't care whether I win or lose. As long as I feel my technique's there. If I feel my technique's all over the place and I've played rubbish, even if I've won, I'll feel like saying, oh, God, I played rubbish, or I wouldn't be happy with it. But I'll never say it really in front of the opponents or anything, because it's disrespectful to them. So, yeah, it's really tricky. But people all have their own standard, You've got to be understanding of that. I think there's a time and a place. Try and remember that there are people out there dreaming of doing what you're doing, or having the off day level, which is not even their top game. I've got someone who lives next door to me, who's a fantastic player, and his off day game is probably my A game.
Yeah.
And they're turning around going to play shit. You're like, I wish I could play as good as you play shit.
That's really how I feel, these guys. Now, I will say there are some players that'll come out and say, hey, you know what? I didn't play as good as I think I can play, but I won. And you hear that occasionally. The Duza, he will praise the other player and be like, hey, man, they played really well. I beat him. And I'm okay with that. He takes it to a little bit of an extreme, because it's the every interview. It's like they went and they practiced one type of interview, and they're like, okay, this is what I got to do every time. And I'm looking for a little bit more personality. And they're like, hey, I didn't, like, if you kept seeing, I kept drifting right. I wasn't happy with that. I mean, I did enough to win, but it wasn't my best. I think I can do better. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like,
I like that. I like that. I like it when they highlight the areas, and they're very honest about it. Sometimes you get in Formula One, they can't say too much because it gives away the technological advantage. But in darts, it's like, what are you going to give away? We're throwing metal objects at a target. Just say, I was fatigued, or I had a slight issue, I had a slight cut on my finger, which is playing up a little bit. Don't give excuses, but be real and say, it's funny because if you go the other way, you've got like MVG, who sometimes his honesty is all comes across as being too arrogant, but I smashed him today, I played so well, but that could be also a language barrier as well. So it's just having understanding and trying to be understanding of everyone. I've recently just become a ambassador for autism awareness in darts, And I'm big on equality. You know, I don't care male, female, race equality, everything. You know, there should be equal opportunity for everyone. And I think that with that comes, you have to consider people's intentions. You know, do you think that he's gone on there to offend people? No, he hasn't. He's gone on there to give an interview and say how he felt about it. That's his intention, and that's how it should be taken. I like it. You know, say how you feel, say how you did, be honest about it. Let us see who you are. I'm all about that.
Yeah, and that's the beauty, I think, of darts is when you talk about equality. And I love that you're working with, with autism, and there are a lot of organizations out there that are helping people that may have some, I don't want to say handicaps, just different things to overcome in sports. Like darts, if you haven't looked into it, take some time and go look. There are people that you may not think could play darts that play exceptional darts. But the beauty of this sport is it's all inclusive. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. The dartboard doesn't care. The dartboard, in all honesty, doesn't care what's going on in your heart. No. It's just there for you to throw stuff at. It doesn't care if you're female. It doesn't care if you're 6 years old. It doesn't.
It's really good for class as well, right? Because I mean, this was very much considered a working man's game. I think when it first started, you know, you had your sort of your working men finish their day, go to the pub, throw some darts with their mates, and that was that. But you've got now, it's taken such a professional level that you'll get young professionals coming in who will work, you know, very, very physically hard, very mentally hard on the game. And, you know, it's accessible for everyone. It doesn't matter where you're from. At the end of the day, I'm playing a game and I love playing. You know, it's something that you can play competitively with yourself, with others, with friends, with strangers. You know, you've got all the online stuff going on now. I can just connect to anyone in the world and say, hey, you know, let's play a game. It's amazing. So it's a very, very accessible, and also fans is amazing as well. In football, you get such hate from one side to the other. You know, and a lot of people might disagree with it, with this view, but you know, you see a lot of fights and everything that happens in football. Darts is millions better. You don't get that kind of hate. You don't get that kind of hateful loyalty towards one player, that one person wins, another person's going to kick off at the other person. All you get is maybe the tables kicking off at the stands in a fun banter way where they're going boring tables, or you can't afford a table, you know, banter forwards and backwards. Everyone's there to have a good time. Some of them there just to drink at the end of the day. But, you know, most of us are there because we love the darts. We're having a good time and everyone has a good cheer. So, you know, for me, it's a very underrated, amazingly balanced sport with fans and with people playing it.
Yeah, and it's the one sport ultimately where it doesn't matter what your average is walking in and going to the Aki, because every given match is different.
It is, yeah.
You know, we've seen the top players in the world lose to people that it was like, how did they lose to them? It's just a matter of that person got off better and played better than you. Speaking of fairness and Formula One, I'm just going to throw out one Formula One question for you. I love the sport personally. I can't afford the sport. Like, I can't even afford like a baseball cap. They're like $200. But with the changes coming up where they're going to even this out, what's your thoughts on? I know we're getting into Formula One now, but I'm excited that you like this because I love Formula One. The worst thing about Formula One is if you have the pole position, everybody else just goes home. They're all fighting for like third and fourth place. But you know, Mercedes is going to have to give up some of the technology aspect with the potential of everybody being in a semi-even playing field. What's your thoughts on the change? I guess it's 2022 that's going to happen, because 2021 it was supposed to, but they pushed it back a year.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's been something that's happened for a long time in Formula One, that they've made changes to try and stop whoever's winning from winning, or try and even things out. As long as you have variants like manufacturers and different tire producers and things like that, there's always going to be someone who's going to benefit. And with technology for Formula One, because it is at the forefront, they're always choosing something to develop and beat the competition. So, you know, you'll get those years where someone's massively ahead because they found a loophole or they found something that works particularly well, and that happens. And some people criticize the best drivers getting in the best teams and winning the championships because because of that reason. I mean, we saw Russell driving the car incredibly well recently, nearly won. It was not his fault that he didn't win. There was a couple of factors in the race that stopped him from winning, and Mercedes will be going, well, hold on, why are we paying Lewis Hamilton so much money when we could put Russell in there? But you've got when it starts to get tricky, you can really see the character and quality of drivers. Lewis Hamilton is without a doubt one of the greatest drivers, doing fantastic things. Some people like him, some people don't. I've got a friend who really hates him. I personally like him. He became a replacement for Michael Schumacher for me, because he actually literally took his seat. So I should have hated him, really, but I didn't.
It's not like Schumacher walked away.
No.
So
yeah, and don't get me started on Schumacher. I'm still so upset that we don't hear anything, and there's such the sort of censorship on it is. I understand the respectful side from the family, but there's fans who are for me, he was like a childhood hero.
Yeah.
My dad set me down, I think in 1991. I think I sat down as a tiny kid, and he was like, this is Formula One. The cars were going around. You choose someone that you like, and I was like, 5 or 6 of them. I had no real idea. A few years later or something, I ended up realizing that the guy that I pointed at and liked all the time got into the red car as well. And it was Michael Schumacher who I liked. So when he went into the red car, that was absolute dream for me. But he was my hero. It was it's tricky. You don't get that childhood hero thing happen when you're older. You don't have that same kind of excitement and following. So it was interesting when Hamilton took over, and we don't hear about the Schumacher situation. It's been hard. I'd like to just know: does he have any concept of things? Is he in a coma? What is the situation? It's quite sad, but
yeah,
we may never know.
We may never know. Yeah, I really do like Formula One. Unfortunately, the times. It's like darts here. There's days where I have to get up at 2 a.m. just to watch stuff.
Oh, we still do that. There's half anyway, so I think everyone
Yeah.
gets, you get half a good deal and half a bad deal. But
yeah, so
but I don't pay for it anymore. I think it's just so expensive on Sky Sports. So I'll watch the BBC coverage of the ones that they do, or the highlight show, which is a shame because it kind of became a Sunday tradition to sit there and watch the Formula One with the family and stuff. But
yeah, I will. Sometimes I pay like for the season pass type stuff, and I do that with the PDC because I think it's the best way to watch for sure. I quite enjoy it. I wish they would. There's a lot of things we could go into where I wish like they don't really replay the tournaments. The PDC should have. If you're a member, you're paying for it. You should be able to come in later on after the match is over and rewatch a match. And you just really don't have those capabilities. PDC, if you're listening, or if anybody that can talk to them, that would be awesome. Because there's matches that start at like 2 a.m. for me, and I'm like, man, like my kids were up at 1 a.m. I'm finally getting to sleep. And I can't, and I want to watch them, but I have to wait 2 weeks for it to come out on YouTube. But I've already seen the entire rest of the tournament. So that would be cool. Hey, I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're getting close to where you've got to take off. Hey, what's going on, Dynamite Dave? See that you're in, and very happy that you're here. If you guys aren't familiar with Dynamite Dave, great guy as well. Another YouTuber out there putting out good dart stuff. I really quickly, where can people find you and connect with you?
So I should hopefully come across all platforms very soon. I don't have my Facebook one active, but it's being created. But I typically respond most on Twitter. Twitter's like my sort of contact. YouTube, obviously, I put my content, and Instagram is sort of your living your best life. So it'll be like fun pictures and stuff, bits and pieces that I'm doing, or people that I'm working with and things like that. But if you want to message me, my tweets are open. So just send me a tweet or send me a direct message on there. Yeah, I'm happy to speak to anyone. I get so many people message me going, "What do you think about this star?" And I'm like, well, what kind of throw do you have? What kind of things do you prefer? It's a very, very personal thing. So, even when it comes to my reviews, I don't believe that we're in an age where you have a bad dart. It's very, very few darts. I mean, if it's very brittle and it breaks, yeah, okay, it's a bad dart. If the grip disintegrates after a few weeks, that's a bad dart. But you don't often get that. You're going to get a dart that's more or less suited. Some people are like, why do you spend so much money on darts? What does a £150 set of darts do that a £10 set doesn't do? It's like, well, no, it can do exactly the same thing. At the same, why would you drive a basic Ford car when you can drive a Ferrari? It's what do you want? You want a little bit flashier, or a fancy grip, or the name, or the player? There's all types of things. So in the same way, the Elysians, people see the Elysians as a very, very weird concept, but it's an expensive dart because it's effectively a collector's item. It's a concept. It's something that people will collect. It will go up in value. I think the generation ones have gone from like 175 to £1,500 now. So it's not made to be a throwing dart, and people don't get that. They're like, well, why would I buy an Elysian? I'm not going to throw it at £1,500. It's like, well, no, buy it to collect it, or to appreciate it, have a bit of history, to sell it on, make profit, do what you want. It's a very different thing. So yeah.
Well, and as you can tell, I like to collect
exactly
things. So I stupidly had the Phil Taylor's, both the special edition they did his last year.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had quite a few sets and sold them and made some good money on them, but I had 2 sets left, and I just didn't have a place for them. And I had a guy that offered me crazy money for them, and I let them go. And now I'm kicking myself going, why? The money really wasn't like, I don't have them anymore. Like I can't hold them and look at them and go, hey, and tell my kids about it. So there is something to it. And that's what the Elysian's all about. And they bring that technology forward into future darts.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And that's the idea of them. And, we've seen it. It's frustrating because I think the generation 2, which I actually bought a used set as well, so I could throw, so I felt what an Elysian would feel like as well. But they've got a really interesting Valance grip, and the dotted grip on it is like the nano dots. That hasn't come through into a mainstream dart, I think, because it's probably too expensive to manufacture at the moment. Obviously, as machines get more and more advanced, I dare say that it'll become cheaper to do some of those things. But I've got a set of darts coming out myself. Well, I say coming out, but I've only got like 5 sets coming, so I'll put a couple out on a bonus ball or something for other people to have a go. But yeah, that's obviously designed specifically for what I look for in a dart. I think your B52s, is that the dart specifically for you? Are you throwing that?
Oh yeah, that was designed specifically with me in mind.
Yeah. It's a nice personal thing, and it's exciting to get your own set of darts. I bet you were thrilled when you opened them up, right?
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm like, I gave stuff out like at Christmas. People were like, "What is this?" I'm like, "No, it's my dart."
Yeah.
I designed this, and it was a cool process working with Shot to do that. This soft tip is on order, so it's coming out, and we're gonna. In my head, I'm like, maybe I should expand. Like, there's other design elements that I see that I really like. That I'm like, maybe I'll become the next Loxley. Atomic Darts will actually grow into a brand. Who knows?
Brand Loxley. I spend a lot of time talking to them and doing some work with them, but they're lovely. They're once again. People who put in, I appreciate effort. I'm really, really big on effort. So if people put effort in, show the personality, be a person, I connect to that. And the Loxley guys are such real people, and they're really nice. I speak to Matt and Dom all the time. Their players are really, really receptive. Obviously, I've done some interviews with them. And Thornton, who does a lot of design work with Loxley, he's designed my darts. Great guy, really, really good fun. I've had great fun. In fact, it's Zach Thornton, if you don't know who he is. He's one of the designers for Loxley, and Clash of Tungsten Ross. We we all play Call of Duty in the evenings now, and we'll get onto Warzone, and I'll get a message from Ryan Searle saying, yeah, you guys on, and things like that. But it's such a lovely community that I'm a part of, and I'm thrilled. And I think it's just growing and growing, and I think if we all grow together and grow together, it sounds like I'm being all hippier, but there's plenty of space. If I watch a review, I want to watch 3 reviews to see what other people say about it. There's plenty of space for us all, and it's a great community to be a part of.
Yeah, it really is. I'm enjoying getting to meet people, and that's why I like bringing other YouTubers and streamers on this show to talk.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's great, and you should hit Dawson Michelle. he is into the whole gaming thing, and he's playing all kinds of different games. You should hit him up. That's his new new big thing. He is coming back to darts, which I'm excited about because I'm a big fan of his. But he is right now, gaming is his thing, so I'm sure he'd love to get into that. Sir Marc, it's a little after time, and I know you've got a meeting work-wise coming up, so I want to respect that. Thank you so much for being on the show, guys. Definitely check him out over on YouTube. It's Love Darts, pretty simple. Love Darts. Some great interviews with players and personalities, as well as really nice just reviews of darts. He's got one for Jack Daniels, and the barrel that they did, they actually did a decent barrel, and it's a really cool little video. I loved just how you interacted with it, and you worked in a lot of cool technical pieces.
People think that I bought the Jack Daniels bottles just specifically for it, but no, I was a fan beforehand, I assure you.
Yeah, I noticed you had like 8 bottles there, so hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
I love your work. You're definitely putting in a lot of time into your videos. I am jealous in some regards of what you're doing, and I strive to achieve things that you're doing. And I know people say they strive to achieve what I'm doing, and so that's the beauty and fun of all of us working together and just being friends. And I don't think there's anybody in this space that at this point in time is got, you know, people hating them specifically. Right now, it could happen. I'm trying to gain that motto, you know, to be the guy everybody hates. So.
You have to remember as well, like I said at the beginning, you know, not everyone's going to like you. Just accept it. Simple as that. Just try and be as nice and polite a person as you can be. And, you know, I respectfully ignore your opinion.
Exactly. And I do this for fun. I don't do it for money. I've been lucky enough to have a few dollars thrown at me, but I don't do this for the money at all. It's all about having a good time and getting to meet people like yourself. I would have never, like you and I would have never had a conversation if it wasn't for you.
No, exactly. I'd love to have you on the channel soon as well. So if we saw an interview, I'd like to hear where you came from and go into maybe we can see some of your more expensive pop heads.
I've got a couple of
your setup as well, because it looks great. I mean, I've been a big fan of your videos. I think the editing's sharp, the products are shown beautifully, and you know, you're great fun to watch. So, you know, keep up the channel. Make sure that you message me, and we can sort some more stuff out together, because it's been really good fun.
Yeah, thank you again so much for being on. Everybody, we've got to get this off because I got to take kids to school. Marc's got work to do to end up his day. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys later. And don't want to forget to thank the sponsors. I almost always do that. But thanks, Shot Darts, for being a sponsor. Thank you to Magicwear for sponsoring in cool jerseys. And I also want to thank Condor Flight and Shafts. Condor's making some really cool stuff out there. The axe system is beautiful. All right, guys, thank you all so much for catching this episode. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.